This is the Xperia 1 Mark IV, and in today's video, I'll share the 10 things that you need to know about this exciting smartphone. As a photographer and content creator, I'm always interested in the imaging capabilities of a smartphone, so we'll start first with the cameras. The Xperia 1 Mark IV features 3 lenses on the back and your selfie camera in front. Looking at the main cameras, the first is a 16mm f2.2 lens. Below that is the 24mm f1.7 lens. And then we get to this right here. This is the world's first true optical zoom lens on a smartphone. Here you'll find an 85 to 125mm lens with an f2.3 to f2.8 aperture that gives you true optical performance and is great for portrait photography. Another major update is that Sony has made all 3 sensors on these cameras with the same 120 frames per second high readout speed, which basically means that you're getting the same overall performance regardless of which lens you're using. This means that you're getting the same 20 frames per second if you're shooting photos, the same 4K 120 frames per second performance if you're shooting video, and the same autofocus tracking capabilities regardless of which focal length you choose. The front camera has also been upgraded with all 4 lenses offering a 12 megapixel resolution and 4K HDR video. Now you have amazing autofocus performance for all lenses for stills, video, and even live streaming, which we'll talk about in a few moments. This takes me to the next thing on my list, which is Videography Pro. I've been using this a lot on my Xperia Pro I, and it's really helpful for content creators who want to have a more familiar, professional interface when shooting video. With this feature, you can quickly adjust pretty much every setting, including adjusting your shutter speed, ISO, white balance, video format, and much more. You could also seamlessly zoom from 16mm all the way to 375mm, which gives you a lot of flexibility to use this function in various shooting situations. You could store your videos and other data for that matter internally or on a micro SD card, which can be removed without the need for any kind of tools. Moving right along, the next thing you need to know is the live streaming capabilities of the Xperia 1 Mark IV. Using Videography Pro, you can now live stream directly to YouTube or other sources that use RTMP destinations from any of the 4 built-in lenses. It's really simple to set up and it only takes a few steps. Not only can you do this using the built-in cameras on the phone, but you could also use your Alpha series camera and you could stream the video coming from that device as well, but more on that in a little bit. We've talked about the video features, but one thing I think is really awesome is the ability to capture 4K video at 120 frames per second natively. If you shoot video content, you probably already know how awesome it is to shoot video at 4K 120, but what's remarkable here is that you're able to capture all 120 frames with real-time audio and allow you to speed up or slow down that footage as you wish in post. It's pretty crazy to think that you can get cinematic quality video from a device like this that fits in your pocket. Another feature that the Xperia 1 Mark IV brings to the table is the ability to use it as an external monitor. Imagine being able to use a 4K HDR OLED display in this small form factor as a way to monitor your videos on your professional cameras. That's exactly what you're able to do with the Xperia 1 Mark IV. If you currently use a monitor in your content creation process, having the ability to use this device as your external monitor will prove to be very useful. So speaking of useful, you could also live stream using the external monitor. This is a really exciting feature that gives creators the ability to create content in ways that might otherwise not be possible. For example, one of the ways I'm planning to use this feature is to take viewers behind the scenes of one of my portrait sessions on location by live streaming it directly from one of my Sony Alpha cameras. I'll have more on that in the future, but I'm interested to hear in the comments how you could use this feature for your own content. The next thing you need to know about the Xperia 1 Mark IV is the Photography Pro feature. The interface is really easy to navigate and it looks familiar coming from any of Sony's recent Alpha series cameras. You can control everything from your shutter speed, ISO, white balance, drive mode, and you could even choose to shoot your images in RAW, JPEG, or both to give you lots of flexibility if you want to process those images later on in post. Taking photos using Photography Pro is really easy thanks to the shutter button. Simply hold down the button and Photography Pro will start right up and be ready for you to start shooting up to 20 frames per second bursts with continuous autofocus and in HDR. Just like a professional camera, you can half press that shutter button to acquire focus and then press it down the rest of the way to take your photos. Photography Pro really gives you the feel of using a professional mirrorless camera and makes taking quality images on a phone a lot of fun. Now, for beginners who might be intimidated by all these settings, you can always use the basic settings where it makes all of the decisions for you and operates like a regular smartphone camera. Okay, this next thing is really exciting, and that's the new Music Pro feature. It allows you to record your audio, edit, and mix that audio right on your device. The real magic though comes when you use their AI cloud-based subscription service, which opens up a world of professional features. One of which is the ability for you to separate your vocals and music. It can then make your audio sound like it was professionally mixed by applying noise reduction and de-reverb. You could also apply an effect to your music and vocal tracks to make it sound as if you recorded in a professional studio environment using a condenser microphone. Take a look at this example of a singer on a windy rooftop to see how this all works.
過去と未来を超えて光に届くほどに今を Oh, 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 oh.
Next up are the improvements to the display. The Xperia 1 Mark IV has a 6.5-inch 21:9 4K HDR OLED display with a 120 Hz refresh rate. Viewing content on the display looks amazing, and the fast refresh rate makes navigating the phone feel fast and responsive as well. The display is also 50% brighter than the previous models, so you can enjoy the improved quality of the display even in bright daylight conditions. Having a high quality display is at the heart of your experience when you have a phone like this, and for me, this is one of the best displays that I've seen on a smartphone to date. Moving right along, the next thing on my list of things you need to know is the improved battery in the Xperia 1 Mark IV. This phone does a lot, as we've been discussing, and now you've got a 5,000 milliamp hour battery that can be charged up to 50% in 30 minutes. You could also wirelessly charge this phone, which is a feature that I'm personally excited to see. So this brings me to the last thing that you need to know about the Xperia 1 Mark IV, and that's the pricing and availability. We've added that information to the description of this video for you to check out, and while you're there, leave a comment and let me know which feature you're most excited to see more about. Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, as we have new videos coming out every single week. Now, if you want to learn more about Xperia, check out the video that you see here on the screen, and I'll see you there.